the victory, my soldiers. Breathe in the rotting stench of our vanquished foes. Onward to domination! Sontar!
So, War of the Sontarans. I liked it. Wasn't the best episode, but it was still nice to see a good Sontaran story, at least in premise. We hadn't really had a Sontaran story since the Davies era, with the Poison Sky and the Sontaran stratagem. Was that the right order? I think that was the right order. And since then, we've mostly just had Strax going about being Strax, which is just sort of like a comedic Sontaran, which is great, sure. But when I think of Sontarans, I think of stuff like King of Sontar, the Sontaran Ordeal. Really interesting stories about war and honor. It's the Sontarans are interesting because of that. They also sort of represent the concept of never-ending war, and I don't know. I always felt like that was something really worth playing with, especially if the idea is that this new era of Doctor Who and Chris Chibnall is supposed to be more progressive, tackling more political ideas and whatnot. So I was hoping for a Sontaran story. And this one here works. The problem I have with it is the B story, which is technically this season's A story. So, the Doctor, Yaz, and new favorite Dan have arrived in the Crimean War, and it turns out instead of Prussians, it's Sontarans. So, alright, that's cool. But then, Dan and Yaz are sent to two different places. Dan in the present, in a somewhat alternate timeline, where the Sontarans are sending... Well, it's not an alternate timeline. The Sontarans have landed on Earth, and they have sent... They're using time travel to send their forces back in time to the Crimean War to take over. And that's cool. Sure, that's cool. And Yaz is with the plot of the whole season. She ends up on a planet called Time, and she has to help out... Well, not help out. She and the dude from the way station, which was weird that he's still here, ends up essentially hostages for Swarm and Azure. Azure being the girl of Swarm, like the female Swarm. I don't know. And they're here to mess some stuff up. So the Doctor, meanwhile, is in the Crimean War and meets Mary Seacole. And this is sort of where the Sontaran story starts to fall apart on its finer details, because the premise is great. Even Dan being stuck in the present day under Sontaran police state works, even though Dan seems nigh invincible and perfect here in how he's able to sneak around, even with Carvanista coming in. His story sort of wraps itself up in a neat little bow. The problem I have is the Doctor's interactions with General Logan. So General Logan, I think, had this been a purely about the Sontarans episode, General Logan could have been fleshed out more. We'd have seen that he may be irredeemable, redeemable. I think what Chris was going for was the character, was the mom he created in, what was it, the Stolen Earth? No, the Hungry Earth story, in Cold Blood, with the Silurians, where, yeah, Mom messes up, Mom makes things worse, but you sort of get where Mom's coming from. But the difference is that the Doctor in that one really is trying to talk to Mom and try to get her through this, and when she ultimately messes up, he's frustrated with her, like, you were not the best of humanity right now. Here he's trying to do that again with the Doctor and General Logan. The problem is General Logan is put in a no-win situation. Either he fights the Sontarans and the Sontarans kill them, or he doesn't fight them and the Sontarans come and kill them. That's kind of it. So what does he have to do? And the episode tries to come off as a bit of a jerk, but I'm like, where's the nuance of the characters here? Like, where's the interest? And it's a bit depressing that that's gone. Overall, though, I think this was a good story, if you sort of remove that part. The end of this episode was, I think, really great, and I've heard some things, some leaked stuff, and so the nature of the planet Time, and this has nothing to do with anything that's going to happen outside of this episode, is that time apparently is funneled through on this planet. So where does time come from? So, for the sake of it, let's just clarify, the Time Lords don't generate time, all right? What they did was they anchored the continuity of the universe and created what would be called positive time. Well, not even positive time. What they did was they stabilized the timelines by having the web of time be the default continuity. And all they do is monitor it, so make sure that nothing upsets that continuity. So that's fine. They don't actually create time. Here, though, it seems that time comes from somewhere else. And it almost feels, the way Swarm talks about it, the Doctor's been here before, at least. Or Swarm, like, we don't know what led to Swarm being arrested, or what actually led to the Doctor having her memory erased by the Division for what had to be the last time. So I'm thinking that the events with Swarm was last time the Doctor was not the Doctor. In other words, the Timeless Child. But who knows? Again, that ending was great. Loved it. I'm excited to see what's coming next. This season so far, on 2 episodes of its 6-episode run, is coming off as stable. Not really amazing. Like, the work is there, but I think the problem is the damage from the past 2 seasons for me as a viewer has already been done. So I'm just kind of a bit jaded about it, which is sad. So hopefully I'll come back later on and just look at the entirety of the Chibnall and go, you know what? That wasn't as bad as I thought it was. Still bad, but not the worst thing ever. Because it probably isn't. But there are some problems with some of these stories that I think is indicative of a problem with Chibnall and the Whittaker era in general. But we'll get to that when we finally get to that. How do I rank this episode? Well, it's probably one of my 3 favorites out of the Chibnall era. And that's kind of sad in itself. Like, every Chibnall episode has, that I like, is like really good but they have like one era, one aspect that just sort of makes it fall apart a bit. That's like, we could have just done this and it would have been really great, but you didn't, and now it sort of dilutes the brand a bit. On the nature of the show, like Demons of the Punjab would have been better without all 3 companions. Like, all we needed was Yaz by default. We could have used Graham or Ryan. Didn't need both of them. Orphan 55 was actually good. I actually enjoyed not Orphan 55. Praxius I enjoyed. But overall, that's kind of it. And War of the Sontarans, because Sontar, I love a Sontaran story, I do. When they're good, they're really good, and usually when they're bad, they're just like, yeah, that was the thing. Alright. But yeah, anyway, what did you guys think about it? Leave your thoughts in the comment section. Check out my videos, and I will catch you all later. This is about Think Tank signing off. Thanks for watching, and as always, may your fandom serve you well.